Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Let me give you some examples first. Although he was sick yesterday, he went to school. Even though he was sick yesterday, he went to school. Though he was sick yesterday, he went to school. Or he went to school even though he was sick yesterday. Despite being sick, he went to school yesterday. In spite of being sick, he went to school yesterday. He was sick yesterday, but he went to school anyways. He was sick yesterday, but he still went to school. He was sick yesterday, yet he still went to school. He went to school yesterday, however, he was sick. He went to school yesterday, he, however, was sick. He went to school yesterday, he was sick, however. Or you can say, nevertheless or nonetheless. See, grammar gives you a lot of options to express one idea in different ways. Now, the question is, why do we need to learn all of these options? What is the importance of learning these options? Look, when you write an academic essay or email or application or anything, any sort of composition that's academic, you need alternative grammatical structures. If you repeat the same structures over again and again, it won't be very professional and academic. So one of the rules for writing is to use alternative grammatical structures. You even need learning alternative grammatical structures for TOEFL IBT exam. And how? On the writing section of TOEFL IBT exam and on the speaking section of TOEFL IBT exam, they test your English, they test your grammar skills indirectly. Because on TOEFL IBT exam, there is no the structure section, there is no grammar section, but they test your grammar indirectly on the writing and speaking sections. So on the writing section, you have two tasks. You're supposed to be writing two essays, one integrated and one independent essay. Okay, you need the skills of paraphrasing, synthesizing, and summarizing while writing the integrated essay. So what is paraphrasing? Paraphrasing means expressing the same idea in different words. So what does that mean? When you take the TOEFL exam and you go to the writing section, and as soon as it starts, so now, you're supposed to be writing two essays, right? For the integrated essay, you read a passage first, and then the passage disappears, and then you listen to a professor giving a lecture, at university level or college level, okay? And then you get information from these two sources, okay? And you combine your own composition. You put the information that you got from the passage and from the, lecture. So that is called paraphrasing, but in different words, okay? You're not gonna be using the same kind of structures that are in passage. For example, there is an active sentence, you may use the passive, active form, you may use the passive form. There's a compound sentence, you may use a complex sentence. There's a simple sentence, you may use a compound sentence. So, and you also need to substitute the vocabulary, okay? Like you use synonyms. So you're not repeating the same words. Paraphrasing means expressing the same information in different words, in your own words. So therefore, you need alternative grammatical structures, okay? For example, you expressed one idea using although, even though, and you face the same sort of, idea. So it's not a good idea to repeat the same structure. So you may use a different structure, however, nevertheless, nonetheless. You got it? And yeah, synthesizing, like, getting information from different sources and creating something new, okay? Again, you need that skill for, the writing section and the speaking section of TOEFL IBT exam, because even on the speaking section, there are 6 questions, 4 of them are integrated questions, and 2 of them are independent questions. So you need to know advanced grammar and a lot of alternative grammatical structures for the speaking and the writing sections of TOEFL IBT exam. Understood? So grammar gives you a lot of options. When you write an essay, it's not a good idea to repeat the same structures. In your first paragraph, for example, okay, the first 2 or 3 sentences are simple sentences. So, 2 or 3 more sentences should be compound. 2 or 3 more sentences should be complex sentences. There could be 1 or 2 compound complex sentences using alternative grammatical structures, okay? In a few sentences, you use conjunctions. In a few sentences, you should use prepositions, for example. In a few other sentences, you should use paired conjunctions or transitional words. So it's important to use different grammatical structures while writing an academic composition, an academic essay or something, right? So I gave you a lot of examples, expressing the same idea in many different ways, okay? So look at these words. Although, even though, though. These are conjunctions. I think we have already recorded one video explaining only despite, in spite of, in these 5 words. But now, today, we have a complete lesson regarding adverb clause of supposition or concession or contrast, or adverb clause of unexpected result. There are different names, okay? Despite and in spite of, these 2 are prepositions, and they are used in a different ways. Conjunctions, subordinating conjunctions, although, even though, though, should be always followed by subject plus verb. But prepositions can't be followed by subject plus verb. They must be followed by object nouns or object, phrases, gerund phrases or, noun phrases. And paired conjunctions are used in a different way. And finally, you have transitional words. All of these 3 transitional words have the same meanings, but however is more common in spoken written English. Nevertheless and nonetheless, these 2 are very formal. Okay, they are not very common in spoken or informal English. And transitional words are used in 3 positions in spoken English and 5 positions, 5 different positions in written English. Now look at these sentences. Look at these examples. Although he exercises every day, he is not fit. Look, I told you that although, even though, though, these 3 are conjunctions. What kind of conjunctions? Subordinating conjunctions. And subordinating conjunctions must be always followed by subject plus verb in a sentence, okay? So what is he? Subject. And exercises is the verb form, okay? So we cannot say although exercising hard or although exercising every day. No, we can't do that. Why? Because conjunctions, subordinating conjunctions must be followed by subject plus verb. This is the rule, okay? So now, although, the difference, although, even though is stronger, is more emphatic, and though is kind of informal, it is used a lot in spoken English, and although would be somehow more formal. That's the difference. They have the same meanings. So although he exercises every day, he is not fit. Now I told you before that whenever you want to bring your adverb clause first in a complex sentence, there should be a comma before you start the main clause. So there's a comma. But if you change the positions of these 2 clauses, then you do not need a comma. For example, you can say he's not fit although he exercises every day. In that case, you do not need a comma. If you want to bring, the adverb clause secondly in the main clause first, in that case, you don't need a comma. Now, where does it show adverb clause of concession or supposition or contrast or unexpected result? And you can say it shows a kind of contrast, like, exercising every day is one idea, and not being fit is, something, and that's something unexpected. If you exercise every day, what is expected? To be fit, right? But here it says he's not fit. So now this adverb clause of unexpected result, I would just call it. This is a great name for it. Okay. However, grammarians have different terms. Some of them call it adverb clause of concession. Some of them say supposition, contrast, but unexpected result. So now, if someone exercises hard, it is expected to be fit, but not being fit here, I mean, in the main class, okay? So it shows the action of unexpected result, okay? So not being fit is what? It's unexpected result. What kind of result? Expected result. So now how can you define adverb clause of unexpected result? It is a group of words, okay, which has a subject and main verb, okay, and shows the action of unexpected result. Shows the action of unexpected. So the action, exercising. Okay, this action is the result of the unexpected. The action of unexpected result. But look, despite exercising every day, he's not fit. Look, exercising every day is a gerund phrase. Up to here, despite exercising every day, it's a phrase. It's not a clause. Why? Because it doesn't have subject plus verb, right? So, it's a preposition, and therefore it must be followed by object. So exercising every day is a gerund phrase which functions as the object of this preposition. Despite exercising every day, in spite of exercising every day, he's not fit. You see the difference now? Conjunction must be followed by subject plus verb, but the preposition should be followed by object. So this object could be just a simple noun. For example, just to give you another example, despite the rain, he came to his classroom. Despite the rain. So what is rain? It's a simple noun. And exercising every day is a gerund phrase. So gerund is also a type of noun, right? Okay? So it functions as the object of preposition. Here we cannot say despite he exercises every day, in spite of he exercises every day. If somebody says it that way, it will be incorrect. Got it? Okay. So don't forget this. And now look at these pair conjunctions and what's the difference? He studied hard, but he failed the exam anyway. Look, when you use but anyway or but anyways, the whole class, subject plus verb plus rest of the class, the whole class comes between the two parts of this pair conjunctions. Okay? But when you use but still or yet still, but still or yet still, then only, the subject, and if there's a to be verb in your sentence, subject plus to be verb, the whole class doesn't come inside the two parts of your, paired conjunctions. For example, we cannot say, but she is hungry still. But she's still hungry, okay? And, you have a to be verb. That's why, it comes between the two parts of, this paired conjunction, okay? If you do not have a to be verb and you have like an ordinary verb, then only the subject comes, between the two parts of, look, she ate 2 pizzas, but, for example, I want to put yet, because but still, yet still, these two paired conjunctions can be used in the same way, exactly in the same form. But yet still would be more formal than but still. That would be the difference. So yet, she, for example, doesn't have energy. Okay, so now look, what comes between the, yet she's still, sorry, I forgot still, I need to write still. Yet she's still, for example, wants to eat more. See, my point here is that if a to be verb is the main verb of your, adverb clause in this case, both the subject and the to be verb, both of them should be brought between the two parts of this pair conjunction. Okay? But if you do not have a to be verb, like here, yet she still wants to. See, it's not a to be verb, right? So then only the subject comes between the two parts of your paired conjunction. That's the difference. Okay, don't forget. If you have a to be verb as a main verb, okay, or maybe even as a helping verb, but she is still working hard. For example, okay? But she is still, the to be verb should be brought inside the two parts of this paired conjunction. You got it? And if you have an ordinary verb, if it's not a to be verb, then only the subject comes between the two parts of this paired conjunction. Like, but she still wants to eat more. You got it? Okay, so finally we come to the usage of transitional words. Look, the difference between conjunctions and transitional words. Conjunctions are used to combine words, phrases, and clauses in our sentences. But transitional words are used to combine ideas between sentences and paragraphs. Without knowing how to use transitional words correctly, you can't deal with academic writing. You can't get a very good score on TOEFL IBT exam, especially on the writing section. Okay? Why? Because when you write a paragraph, when you write an essay, of course, an essay is the combination of paragraphs. And what is a paragraph? It's a group of related sentences which talks about the same main idea. Okay? So there you need, logical order, chronological order, right? In order to have proper coherence and cohesion in your paragraph, okay, you need to know transitional words. Okay, you need to be able to use, transitional words in your paragraphs in order to move smoothly from one idea to the next idea. In order to combine ideas in your paragraphs, between sentences in your paragraphs properly. Okay, so I'm just telling you this. As a part of the academic English, you really need to focus on advanced grammar. Okay? And I know most of you have an academic purpose. Your purpose is academic. Most of you wanna, take TOEFL exam and get a high score and, get scholarships, go abroad, do your master's and PhDs abroad, right? So most of you have academic purpose, and therefore you need to focus on advanced grammar a lot. Some people say, oh, grammar is not important. If you focus on grammar, you cannot speak English fluently, this and that. It's okay, I agree. If your purpose is just to be able to communicate in English and you do not have any other purpose, but if your purpose is academic, you want to take TOEFL exam, right? You want to work with a company where, you need to know academic English so that you can write reports and, formal emails and stuff. Of course, you need to focus on grammar. Okay, so now look. All transitional words in English language can be used in 3 different ways, in 3 different positions in spoken English, in 5 different positions in written English. Look at the first sentence. They kept playing football, however, it was raining. Nevertheless, it was raining. Nonetheless, it was raining. These 3 transitional words have exactly the same meanings, but I told you that nevertheless and nonetheless are more formal, and however is not very formal. It's very common in spoken English, in daily English. So the first position, look, see, what is the responsibility of this transitional word? Okay, it combines the ideas between these 2 sentences. There's one idea, they kept playing football. That's one idea. And it was raining. That's another idea. But it joins the 2 ideas between these 2 sentences, right? Okay, so the first usage of transitional words. You can use your transitional word at the beginning of the second sentence, and it should be followed by a comma. This is one way. You can also use the transitional word between the subject and the verb form of your second sentence. And it should be preceded by a comma, and it should be followed by a comma. You need 1 comma before transitional word, 1 comma after transitional word. Finally, you can use it at the end of your second sentence, and there should be a comma before you use the transitional word. Okay? So now this way, using it this way, however, it was raining, or nevertheless it was raining, or nonetheless it was raining, is very, very common in spoken English, even in academic spoken English, okay? But it, however, was, raining, bringing transition between the subject and verb form, and using two commas, one before transitional word and one after transitional word. It's like super formal, like very, very formal. So it's not very, very common, okay? But still, I mean, you need to learn it. It's very formal. In this way is somehow like, spoken. I mean, in spoken English, when native speakers use transitional words, they usually use them at the end of their second sentence. But keep in mind that, number one, transitional words cannot begin your first sentence. They cannot be used in the first sentence. There's a sentence, and then there's another sentence, the second sentence, and the transitional word should be used in the second sentence. In the second sentence, they're movable. You can use them in different positions. At the beginning of your second sentence, followed by a comma, between the subject and verb form, and at the end of your second sentence. Now, I told you that in written English, there are 5 positions, okay? So what about the 2 other positions? Now, look. Instead of this full stop, this period, if you use a comma, then you don't have to capitalize the transitional word. Understood? So that will be, the fourth way. Okay? Or if you use semicolon, that is also correct. Again, you do not need to capitalize, the following word, the transitional word. So how many ways? 5 ways. Using semicolon, not capitalizing the transitional word, okay? Using comma, not capitalizing the transitional word. Using full stop, but then you should capitalize the following word. Understood? So in written English, 5 ways. In spoken English, 3 ways, okay? Because here, it's obvious over here. Use it at the beginning, use it between subject and verb, okay? So it's understandable in spoken English, right? Or use it at the end of the second sentence. But the other, 2 ways, just in written English, you can see the difference, right? So now, all transitional words can be used in these 5 different ways in written English and 3 different ways in spoken English. Okay, so we talked about the importance of learning alternative grammatical structures, right? And we talked about using, conjunctions, subordinating conjunctions in one way, prepositions in another way, and paired conjunctions in a different way, and finally transitions in a different way. Let me give you some more examples, okay? A few more examples. And then I'll be expecting you to use these, linkers or connectors, or these words in different sentences. Okay. And I'm going to be trying, to use different forms. So you can see, the difference, okay? The different ways. Although that car was expensive, my brother bought it. Even though that car was expensive, my brother bought it. Though that car was expensive, my brother bought it. Despite being expensive, my brother bought that car. In spite of being expensive, my brother bought that car. And now I'm using, these paired conjunctions. That car was expensive, but my brother bought it anyways. That car was expensive, but my brother still bought it. That car was expensive, yet my brother still bought it. My brother bought that car. However, it was expensive. Nevertheless, it was expensive. Nonetheless, it was expensive. My brother bought that car. It, however, was expensive. It, nevertheless, was expensive. It, nonetheless, was expensive. Or finally, the third way, that car was, my brother bought that car. It was expensive, however. It was expensive, nevertheless. It was expensive, nonetheless. Okay? So expressing one idea in many, many different ways, okay? Grammar gives you a lot of, Yes, trust me, grammar is very interesting. It's enjoyable. Learning grammar is enjoyable. But if it is taught in a practical way, if the teacher is not too much dependent on reading materials. Okay? If it could be explained in a practical manner. You got it? Not just like, okay, go to page number 20, okay, read the sentence, you read the sentence, no. Simplification is very important. Like how to simplify the complicated points for your students so that they can, okay? So I hope that our videos will be useful not only for students but also for English teachers in many countries, right? Okay, let me give you some more examples. Many people love to keep living in Afghanistan. Although there's a lot of war over here, okay? Many people or many Afghans love to keep living in Afghanistan despite the war over here in our country, okay? There's war in our country, but many people want or love to keep living in this country anyways. There's war in our country, but still, many people, many people still love to keep living in this country. So you can use different ways. Or for example, however, nevertheless, nonetheless, many people love to keep living in Afghanistan. However, nevertheless, nonetheless, there's a lot of war over here. Many people, love to keep living in Afghanistan. There, however, is war over here. Or many people love to keep living in Afghanistan. There's war in our country. However, nevertheless, nonetheless. Okay, the three ways. Okay. She doesn't trust him, although he is a very honest person. She doesn't trust him, although he is a very honest person. Despite being an honest person, she doesn't trust him. He is a very honest person, but she doesn't trust him anyways. He's an honest person, but she still doesn't trust him. He's an honest person, yet she still doesn't trust him. She doesn't trust him. However, he's an honest person. She doesn't trust him. He, however, is an honest person. She doesn't trust him. He's an honest person, however. You see, different ways, right? Okay, your turn. Do you have any questions? No questions? Are you sure? Everything is clear? So you know how to use, subordinating conjunctions and paired conjunctions and, prepositions and transitions? No confusion? Are you sure? Okay, so raise your hand if you can make a sentence. Yep.
Enough Almighty Allah, she prepared her presentation very well, yet she still wants to take preparation.
Yeah, she presented her presentation very well, yet she still wants to have more preparation. Yep.
Although she has a business degree, she is working as a retail clerk.
Although she has a business degree, she works, yeah? Yes. Mm-hmm.
Even though Taliban caution people don't take electrical ID card, people is getting electrical ID card.
People are getting
electrical ID card.
their electrical IDs. Yes. Okay. So even though Taliban kill those who get, that's what you said, right?
No, caution, warrant.
Okay. Have threatened, for example.
Yeah.
Even though Taliban have threatened people not to get the electrical IDs, people still get them. People still get them, yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
He runs fast, however, he is very old.
He runs fast, however, he is very old. Now use the other way.
He runs fast, however, is very old.
In?
And he runs fast,
He is very old, however. Perfect. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Even though they played too well, they lost the match.
Even though they played very well,
They lost the match.
yeah.
Although he was sick, he came to class.
Although he was sick, he came to class. Perfect.
No.
Okay.
I couldn't eat, however, I was hungry.
I couldn't eat, however, I was hungry. Perfect. That's right. Anybody else? Little boy, you? Can you make an example? Okay.
Despite doing my homework,
The teacher fined
me.
Despite doing my homework, the teacher. Okay. Actually, I spoke your mind. That's what you wanted to say, right? Okay. Yeah, girls, boys. Anybody else?
Although he is so strong, he couldn't move it.
Yeah, although he is so strong, he couldn't move the table or whatever. Although she's beautiful, nobody wants to marry her. Why? Maybe there's some other reasons, maybe, right? She doesn't have good character or something, maybe, right? Although he's handsome, girls don't like him. Right?
Although Donald Trump
Donald Trump.
failed the election,
Yeah.
he wants to become the president of
Yeah,
United States.
although Donald Trump, lost the election, he doesn't accept the results, or he wants to become the president of the United States again. So the Prime Minister of India calls him Donald Trump. Donald Trump, not Donald Trump. Okay, enough? Enough? Do you want to make more examples? Or enough? Okay, did you have fun?
Yes.
Okay. So it's a kind of proof that grammar is not boring, right? Grammar is interesting, right? If it is, learned in a practical way. Am I right? Okay, have a great time, everybody. Bye-bye. We're done.